Avalanche fans are fired up about this because despite all of the sadness and frustration going through every Avs fan's head all around the world, there's still one piece of this team that was acquired this season that is going to continue to help them be a massive threat in the National Hockey League in the next few years to come. And we are going to break down exactly what that specific threat is and how they are going to play such a crucial role on the Colorado Avalanche roster as we look ahead in the next few seasons of the NHL for the Avs. But before we do that, I want to welcome you to Avalanche Digest. Mark Robinson, happy to be with you today. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. We are the number one stop shop, the best possible place to get your daily Colorado Avalanche news, updates, and opinions. Everything is absolutely necessary on Colorado Avalanche Digest right here. So if you're not subscribed to Avs Digest, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, exit out of this video, hammer that subscribe button. If you're an Avs fan and you're tuning into these videos and you love the Avs as much as I do, we appreciate your support. We would love if you could hit that subscribe button. We're at 97 subscribers right now, only 3 away from 100. This is a fairly new channel, so we're on the come up, we're growing. So if you haven't subscribed yet, help us out. Let's get this channel bigger and bigger by the day. Subscribe to Avs Digest. We appreciate your support. Another quick note, Avs Digest can also be listened to on Apple Podcasts and Spotify or wherever you find any other podcast that you listen to. If you're on the go, you don't want to sit down and have to watch the YouTube video. You just want to listen to what we have to say here on the channel and all of the different news and updates that we're talking about around the Colorado Avalanche. You can do just that by tuning into our Spotify, our Apple Podcasts. Every episode that you can watch here on YouTube is also listenable on those platforms. And if you go listen over there as well, make sure you give us a 5-star rating. We appreciate all of your support so much. Without further ado, let's break into the one piece of this Avs roster that's getting swept under the rug a little bit as far as how important this roster addition was for this team this year and how much this roster addition is going to play a really large role in the success of this team in the near future. And that roster addition, my friends, is the man himself, Mackenzie Blackwood, the number one goalie for the Colorado Avalanche, the starting goalie, that is, who was acquired this season in a trade with the San Jose Sharks. So let's turn the clocks all the way back to the beginning of the season. The Avs started their first 5 games of the season 1-5. And the primary reason of that struggle was a pitiful performance from Alexander Georgiev. Crazy stat here. The Avs traded for Blackwood. We look at this trade here, and we'll go over that in a second. The Avs traded for Blackwood on December 9th. The Avs record on December 9th, the day that they traded Georgiev away, was 15-14-0. So they were barely above a mid-tier 500 team that was immensely struggling in a tough Central Division and was not able to get crucial wins over teams that they 100% should have been beating. And half the reason for that was because of the goaltending and the struggle that Alexander Georgiev had. He had a really, really low GAA and save percentage, and he just wasn't giving the Avs the production that they needed, especially considering how high caliber of a team the Avs are. And then, after previously trading the previous former goalie Justus Onunen for Scott Wedgwood to the Nashville Predators, Chris MacFarland in the front office for the Avs makes another crazy, risky move, which completes the work of essentially reworking our entire goalie tandem. And that is trading away one of not only our really strong former forwards for the Colorado Avalanche in Nikolai Kovalenko, but also our goalie Alexander Georgiev, who we had very recently traded for just in the last 2 years after we won the Stanley Cup in 2022 with Darcy Kemper in net. We essentially ended up trading for Georgiev. We took him away from the New York Rangers. He was the number 2 goalie there, and we put him in a starting position, and in the long run, it unfortunately did not work out. The front office knew that a change needed to happen fast and that Georgiev was not the answer, and that acquiring a goalie like Mackenzie Blackwood was going to be crucial. So essentially, we pick up Blackwood, and things just go up from there. Blackwood had been playing phenomenal with the Sharks, but we have ourselves in an interesting scenario here in that you have a really good goalie, an arguably top 10 goalie in the league, playing with a bottom of the league, 32nd in the league team, San Jose. And then on the other end of things, you have a not even close to a top 10 goalie, very mid-tier, was a backup goalie, wasn't doing what he needed to be doing on a really high caliber team with high caliber players, playing for a team that makes a decent chance at a Stanley Cup every season and even won the Stanley Cup within the last 5 years. And so Chris MacFarland put a risky deal out on the table, and it ended up working out beautifully. And we get Mackenzie Blackwood, and from there, it was only up. The stats that he had throughout his time playing for the Colorado Avalanche this season were remarkable, and he was just a massive asset to this team. And for the Avs to finish third in the Central Division with a really strong record behind two juggernaut teams that, one of them actually just puck dropped today a few minutes ago, is still fighting for a spot in the Stanley Cup Championship in the Dallas Stars. The Avs did a really good job putting themselves in a position where they had a really strong season, and Mackenzie Blackwood is to thank for a lot of that. And take a look at some of his stats, not just with the Avs, but in general. He had 53 starts this season, 28 wins, a 2.55 goals against average, 4 shutouts, and a 9.12 save percentage. So to have that save percentage above 900 and that goals against average, right around that 2.5 range, that's exactly what you want out of a goalie. And not to mention, we're expecting to see a lot of these statistics improve immensely in the coming years, especially now that Blackwood is backed by such a deep and strong both offensive line and defensive line in the Colorado Avalanche, playing with players like Nathan MacKinnon, Marty Necas, Cale Makar. Just the talent that he's been able to play in front of, it's really helping him continue to develop into one of the best goalies that this league has seen in the last few years. A few other little statistics about Mackenzie Blackwood here, kind of like what we talked about, that 913 save percentage with the Avs, 911 save percentage with the Sharks. So he's still even doing well with San Jose, just not necessarily being able to pull out as many wins and being backed by as fiery of an offense as does the Colorado Avalanche have. But nevertheless, as we said, Mackenzie Blackwood doing really well in the regular season. And then something else to consider about Blackwood, and something that's going to help with him developing later on with the Colorado Avalanche, is let's remember that this series against the Dallas Stars, where he, let's remember, started all but one period, I think, of the 7-game series. They put Wedgwood in for the third period of, I think it was game 6 or game 5, one of the two. It was game 5, where the Avs were just getting slapped by the Stars. It was like very low scoring game. But either way, this was Mackenzie Blackwood's first playoff series in his career ever. Like, you look at these stats here, the 2024 playoff, 25 playoff stats and the career playoff stats, they're exactly the same. He's only played in 7 playoff games. He has 3 wins, 1 shutout in the playoffs, which is electric. 2.71 goals against average. Obviously, that could be a little bit lower. Same with the 8.92 save percentage. We'd like to get that into the low 900s, obviously. But you have to remember, the playoffs are a tough scene for goalies in which, there's a lot of different type of shots and saves that are hard to make. And, you're playing for a lot more than just, the 2 points in a regular season win. So there's a little more pressure. But the point being here is that Mackenzie Blackwood now has some playoff experience under his belt. And because he was just signed to a 5-year, $26.25 million with 5.25 AAV on that contract with the Colorado Avalanche, he's officially inked in Colorado. It's looking like he's hoping to be our long-term goaltender. And he showed that with the skills between the pipes that he has this season, he's going to be able to do that. The point I'm making here with the playoff stats is this was his first time in the playoffs. And now that he has some experience playing in the Stanley Cup playoffs, especially with such a high-power team that the Colorado Avalanche are, he's going to get better and better, and he's going to become a massive asset to us being able to squeak through some really tough playoff series in the near future and hopefully get us our 4th franchise Stanley Cup. So really, really excited about what Mackenzie Blackwood is going to have to offer to this Colorado Avalanche team. And, kind of how we started this video, through all of the roster frustration, the Mikko Rantanen trade, the heartbreaking Game 7 loss to the Dallas Stars in the first round, how electric he's going to be for this team and what he has to offer as far as goaltending goes, it's kind of getting swept under the rug a little bit. So let's remember that we have a massive piece of the roster now in Mackenzie Blackwood, and he's going to play a huge role in the success of this Colorado Avalanche team in the near future, playing in the National Hockey League.